Welcome to Tech 22s, everyone. My name is Mark Michaud. Today is April 29th, and the topic is Smart Notebook. We're going to take a look at some neat features. And what I've done is I've compiled a list of the features that we're going to take a look at in case that you've already seen them. So the first one is I'm going to show how you can print any document to Notebook. Ink works really well in Notebook. However, when we're using ink outside of Notebook, it can be sometimes hard to exactly understand how ink interacts, but we always know that when PDFs or Word documents are opened in Notebook, we know that ink will interact very well. So I'll show you how we can print directly to Notebook. We're going to look at importing PowerPoints. If you have lesson plans that are all done, you can import them directly into Notebook. We're going to look at importing, showing how you can embed Flash videos into Notebook, customizing the toolbar for shapes and fonts, create folders in the gallery, and customizing that folder. We're also going to take a look at how you can save a page to the My Content folder, and I'm also going to show you any content that you've created in the gallery, how you can easily back that up. So let's take a look at how you can print any document to Notebook, whether it be PDF, Word, an image. It doesn't matter. If it has the print option, you can send it to Notebook. So let's take a look. So what I've done is I've created a folder here with a few documents and convert to Notebook. So I have two of them here. I have a Word document, which is an old test that I used to use, and also one in PDF. So for example, if I open up this PDF, and you can see that this PDF is it's 3 pages. So what I can do, if you want to write over this PDF document, ink sometimes interacts a little bit sketchy when we're not in Notebook. So what I can do, to send this to Notebook and not lose any quality, I can go under File and decide to print this. So in your printer selection, you have something that should be called, if you have Notebook installed, Smart Notebook Document Writer. So I'm going to select this printer. And basically what that does, it takes that PDF and prints it into your Notebook. So I'm going to hit print, and we'll see what that looks like. The advantages of doing it this way is that your PDF will be at 100% quality. You're not going to be losing any quality this way, rather than copy and pasting or snipping the image out of it. So when you hit print, it'll automatically open Notebook for you, as it's doing here. And this option comes up. So I always pick the Smart Notebook pages with images. I've not had much success with editable objects. Basically, it's asking, like, everything that's in your PDF, do you want to be able to move them around? I haven't had much success, so I always pick the first one, which basically says replicate this PDF and bring it into Notebook. So you click OK. And there. And as you can see, it actually brought these 3 pages in individually. And if I go under full screen mode, and I actually have to scroll down to see this entire page, and that's the advantage of that. It's not making everything smaller. So if I want to write on this, you have access to your pens as you normally would, and it's much easier to work with. And you can then hit the file Save As and save this as a Notebook document that you can work on at a later date. So that works very well for PDF. And also, if we're doing this with a Word document, the process is the same. We're basically printing not to a physical printer, but we're printing this document to Notebook. So again, this is an old test of mine. This is actually 2 pages. So if I go to the file, Again, print, I'm going to select, I'm going to change this to the notebook printer, Smart Notebook Document Writer, and I hit print. And there it is. So it's printed directly into Notebook. Rather than doing a copy and paste, you can just print it and you can work away. My 2 pages are here. Alright, let's move on to the next feature. Next one is import PowerPoints directly into Notebook. So I know several teachers have PowerPoint lesson plans, and I often get this question is how can I use that in Notebook or whatnot. Under the file section here, under import, it doesn't say, it should say import PowerPoints. It just says import with 3 dots, but when you click import, if you look at the types, it's saying PowerPoint here. So it's looking for PowerPoints. So that import option is for PowerPoints. And again, I've put that PowerPoint that I want to use as an example in a folder here. And it's mean, median, mode. And this is a lesson plan. I'm going to click on Open. And it starts converting it to Notebook. Depending on how many slides you have, this could be long or it could be a short process. Okay, so I sped up the process a little bit because it did take a little bit of time because there are 44 slides. But as soon as that conversion is done, this is what appears. This was the PowerPoint, and all 44 slides, I believe it is, no, 45 slides are there. Notice that I'm missing part of the slide, so this is because these slides are a little bit bigger. But if you go in full screen mode here, and you make sure under this option here, more options, if you make sure to select entire page, when you're in full screen mode, it shows the entire page, so you can move forward, and it's basically converted this perfectly into Notebook. Also, so if you want to do some ink in writing, also these are all editable as well. So if I want to change these, I can. And when I'm done, again, you can quickly hit File, Save As, and that PowerPoint lesson is now a Notebook lesson. Okay, move on. Import Flash videos. In a prior Tech 20 Tuesday, I talked about downloading YouTube videos and the formats you can select, and one of them was Flash videos. Under the insert here, you can insert video, and if you've downloaded a video, in this case I have from YouTube or any other site, and it's downloaded as a Flash video, so if you see here it's looking for FLV files, you can quickly just select them and import them into a lesson plan. So what that does, it basically it allows you to show a video to your class without leaving the comforts of Notebook. Alright, moving on. This one was actually not on my list, but I've decided to add it because I noticed it in the menu when I was looking at something else a few minutes ago. And it's under View, and it's a really neat one, and it's under Alignment here. And the alignment feature here has 4 different features, and we'll go through this really quickly because some of you might be aware that it's there, but for those that might find this very useful, if you look, there's show guides for active objects, there's show vertical page, virtual page center guide, show horizontal page center guide. If I check mark these two, what that does is going to put a line through the middle, and basically that's a guide for when you go in the full screen view. So if I go in my gallery here and I grab a circle and I bring it in and I put it right in the middle, that's telling me that's the middle of my page when I go into full screen mode. So as you can see, that's right down the middle, because when we're not in full screen mode, we're actually missing part of the page. So if you're looking for the center, that guide will help you. Also, if you have several objects in a lesson and you're creating it, and under your alignment section here, if you have show guides for active objects, that's to help you line them up. So if I want to line them up, when you get close, okay, so the lines, I'm going to change. If you're noticing when I'm dragging, I'm not getting the lines right away. So what I'm going to do is under alignment, I'm going to change that line color to make it something a little bit easier to see. So there we go. So this is telling me that I'm lined up perfectly with that circle on the right, and it'll show you the horizontal alignment as well. So if that's for any object that's moving. This I'm finding it's not working perfectly, but this is telling me basically that I'm lined up in the middle. And the last one for alignment is snap objects to guide. So when you have that one selected, when you're bringing an object close, it'll snap it in place. So that's if you want to touch them side by side. So you'll see when I get close to it, it'll snap it right in place. So there. So these are all touching, and I'm noticing that the guides are working very well. So this circle here is lined up on the side. This one's lined up perfectly with this one. So you can quickly line up objects that you need to. So very useful in helping line up your lesson plans. Moving on. Customizing shapes and fonts. In Notebook, if I click on the text icon, I get all these options here. Okay, and there's 6 of them. You can actually select a font and a color that you use a lot and that you don't have to go and create each time. If you look at here, this one's pink. So if I hit this pink one and I go to the Properties tab, so again, my pink one is selected. So I can change this to black if I wanted to. And this is Comic Sans. Well, I could go Times New Roman because this is a font that I might be using a lot for creating lesson plans. And that's a very big font, so you could make it smaller. And it's bold, so I just want a regular font. When you hit the Save Tool Properties here, you're actually going to change the square right here. So when you hit Save Tool Properties, see how this has changed? The font is now smaller and it's black. So when you select this and you start typing, it's typing at Times New Roman with a 14 point, and that will stay here. You can do the same thing with shapes. Now, I don't necessarily recommend this, but I want to tell you that you are able to do this. If you used a red circle a lot, when you select the circle and you go the fill effects, you can say I want a solid red line, red circle, sorry, and you change the line to red. And when you hit Save Tool Properties, every time you come here, you're going to get a red circle. However, you're probably not always going to want a red circle. So what I've been showing teachers in the past, I'm going to bring this back to no fill and the line style to black and hit Save Tool Properties. So this is back to normal. What I normally do is I'll make a circle, and in the gallery here on the right hand side, under the My Content folder is where you can go and create subfolders and put gallery items that you use a lot or that you've created. And under Shapes, I've created one called Circles, and in Circles I have 3 of them right there. I have a blue, a red, and a green, and I've created those. So I've created a red circle here, so if I select this circle and I hit Properties, I'll change the color of it to one of the colors that I don't have. So if I want a pink circle, and I'll change the line style to pink as well, I'll then go to the gallery and take this circle and put it in, and I'll change the name of it to pink. And you can do this with any shape, any form, and it's much quicker to access shapes that you've already created for your lesson plans. Now, how do you create subfolders and folders? Well, if I select the My Content, you'll get this drop down arrow here, and I'll just create new folder, and it could be a folder on algebra. You can name it whatever you want. I created one called Shapes, and then from Shapes I have circles. I could have one that's called Squares, and make squares and put them in this folder here, and change the colors. Very neat feature and very useful. Also, when you're working on a page, I'll use this as an example, and I saved pages here. If this was a page that you were working on with one class and you'd like to save all the work that you've done with it quickly, the little wrench here, when you select it, you can add this current page to My Content, and whatever content page that you're on, in this case I'm on Save Pages, that's where it's going to go. So add the current page to My Content, and what it's done is I'll grab a new page here. So when you go to Save Pages and you just drag it back in, all that work is still there, and it's easily accessible for you during any later lesson or at any given time. Moving on. Okay, so this has happened quite a bit in the past. Someone has a My Content folder that's excessive. They have lots of stuff saved. It might have been tests that they worked on with students, and they don't want to lose all the work they've done. They've created all these custom galleries for shapes, circles, and whatnot, and they need to turn their laptop in for the dreaded reimage, and they're afraid to lose their content. The best way to make sure that you don't lose any of your My Content is you go to the top folder, which is the My Content folder here at the top. This plus sign means that you have folders below it, but within this main folder here. So when you selected the My Content and you select this drop down menu, you can export this as a collection file. So I'm going to hit export as a collection file, so it's exporting everything that's in that My Content. So I'm going to call it My Content Archive. And the very best spot to save this is the personal drive. You can't lose anything in there. So I'm going to save that in the personal drive, and I'm calling it My Content Archive. Save. So what I've done, you don't need to worry about your My Content. It's saved in my personal drive. So pretend your laptop has been returned to you. You have Notebook open, and your My Content folder here seems empty. Well, you just click the My Content, and you're going to add to My Content instead of export, and you're going to go to your browse to your personal drive, and I called it My Content Archive, and I'm going to open that. And here it is. So it's called My Content, and I have everything there twice. So the algebra, the save pages, the shapes, and also below here the algebra, the save pages, and shapes. So it just, I have it there twice, which is redundant, but it was to show you that how easy it is to export any content that you save in the My Content section. I know that's a lot of information in a short period of time. I'm hoping one or several of these features were useful. If you have any questions about Notebook or any other topic that we've seen in the past few weeks on Tech 20 Tuesday, feel free to email me anytime at mark.michaud@nbed.nb.ca. Have a good Tuesday evening, everyone. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.